Well, it took a while, but I finally found a payphone in Flushing. I'm sure this one doesn't work, just without picking it up yet. That panel is totally gone. One of the lights is gone. This looks like, if you just freeze this looks like a work of art, like a painting. Someone busted the glass. There are actually two phones in the 7 train station, but there were homeless people sleeping at both of them. So I figured I'd not disrupt their serenity by documenting their slumber. Yeah. No dial tone here, no PP either. This again, or this might be art in ad places. The group of artists that have generic keys that they can use to open these cabinets and overlay advertising with art. Usually what they put up makes some kind of statement or is clearly art. It's not obvious to me whether this solid blue screen is intended to be that. And I can't get any closer than this. This is one of these outdoor dining shacks. This is 41st Avenue off of Main Street. And I'll tell you what, Main Street Flushing is no place for social distancing, that's for sure. Alright, the homeless people sleeping by these phones woke up and moved on. There are actually two phones here at the Flushing Main Street 7 train station. And this one doesn't work. But I have reason to believe the other one does. So let's find out. This one has all its placards and such. And yes, it does have dial tone. Yeah, this has happened before. I get error 29 when I try to dial *10.
Attention everyone. 7 trains are now running between Unisphere Plaza and and 34th Street Hudson Yards because of track leases. For service to Vernon Boulevard, Jackson Avenue, transfer at Queensboro Plaza to the 3 shuttle bus.
But I tried.
For service to Manhattan, transfer at 74th Street Broadway to a Manhattan-bound E, F, or R train, or transfer at Queensboro Plaza to a Manhattan-bound N or W train.
So, star dot 12 connected to the daily prayer, star 13 connected to the lending tree. But since these shortcuts aren't posted on this phone, maybe it's not appropriate to call that a mistake. So it does appear this phone works. It's just the star 10 thing is off. And since that's my usual way of testing these things, yeah, 311 goes through. So if I make that mistake, I only have myself to blame. The info placard is upside down for some reason. But other than that, this one is a beauty. Now I'm going to go check out Flushing. I've fallen in love with Main Street Flushing. I'm out at Flushing Meadows Corona Park. To check in on what I believe is the last and only payphone left out here. And it hasn't worked for a long time, probably 11, 12 years. I'm not certain it's still here though. I used to come out here a lot. Had a bit of a fascination with the Unisphere and all the remnants of the World's Fairs that happen here. The Unisphere became the source of a long-running bit of aggravation for me. Not the Unisphere itself, but the Wikipedia article about it is probably the only article I ever attempted to edit or, be a part of, contribute to, rather. And I made some changes which, as far as I could tell, were accurate, and nobody changed them. But somebody came along and in the first sentence they said, the Unisphere, also known as the Globotron, and then it went on. And that complete falsehood was in the opening sentence of the article for over a year. The Unisphere has never been called the Globotron. But as is common for Wikipedia, that bit of nonsense lingered, and it even traveled, as such things do, because hundreds of people over the course of that year just copied and pasted some content from the Wikipedia, and next thing you know, you've got Globotron all over the internet. And it finally got corrected. It just really made me hate the Wikipedia. But I got over it. I don't really care anymore. And it's such a stupid term, Globotron. I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody believed that was really what the Unisphere was called at some point. But I found no evidence to suggest that term existed any time before somebody inserted it into that Wikipedia article. The last time I was out here must have been in 2019, when I'd been dating this woman for about 6 weeks, and I thought she was pretty cool. But it was only after 6 weeks that she saw fit to tell me that about 3 or 4 months earlier, She had wired her life savings off to a dating site scammer who had her believing that that he was being held. He was a Marine being held hostage by ISIS in Afghanistan, and then they were demanding like $100,000 ransom or something like that. You know, the story doesn't matter because it's all just a bunch of lies. But this was not an unintelligent woman by any reasonable estimate, but she totally fell for it. And next thing you know, she's familiarizing herself with Bitcoin and just doing it, you know, just actually following through with something that just seems, you know, I've told this story to a number of people, and the knee-jerk reaction is always that she must have been a fucking idiot, but she was no idiot. It just, I think these things appeal to people's emotional aspirations. I don't know. I mean, it's I admit that until I thought about this woman's experience and then reflected on others, I probably also would have jumped to the conclusion that people are idiots for doing that kind of shit. But you know, if somebody calls and says you owe the IRS $3,000, well, you know, maybe the person being called is illegal or really does owe somebody money and had been waiting for a call like this for a long time. And maybe the scammers know this. Maybe they know that so-and-so has, you know, $3,000 in debt. And that's how they play the game. I don't know. Anyway, that's just a reflection on the last time I came to this enormous, and today at least virtually empty, park. We met at the Unisphere. So the Unisphere is starting to appear through the thicket of trees. A friend of mine had a friend who grew up in Corona in the 70s, and he said back then it was pretty common for he and his friends to get high and climb up to the top of this thing. I found it hard to believe, but I came out here and did find a pretty clear path. I mean, a possible path. And then I later learned that it's been done, and I think there's a video of it on YouTube somewhere. But I had trouble finding it because they spelled Unisphere wrong. But there is a video of a guy climbing to the top of this thing, so I never disbelieved the story. It just seemed a little far out, at least at first. When all the fountains are blasting water up into the air, it's supposed to create the illusion that the globe is floating on the water. Well, that's the intent. Unisphere is 140 feet high, 120 feet wide, and weighs 700,000 pounds. And from this plaque I learned that the Pittsburgh Steelers logo is derived from the logo of the United States Steel Corporation. I did not know that until I spotted this plaque here. I think the path that I came up with that seemed most passable to get to the top of this thing would have been to climb up the back of South America, then Central America, up through North America. But, oh God, it's making me dizzy just thinking about it. So it's still here. It's another abandoned Verizon payphone. This is outside of the Queens Museum. Where it looks like some kids are playing hacky sack, or I don't know, they're kicking something around. Somebody asked me yesterday if Verizon would come out and fix this if someone requested it, and that would be a no. Verizon exited the payphone business completely about 11 years ago, I think, and left a lot of its payphones out here to rot, to attract vandalism. The only way this one could come back to life would be if PTS acquired it. I don't think that's going to happen. Same was true of those 3 phones that I spotted over on the by the Verrazano Narrows. Those were all just abandoned by Verizon. They probably don't even have a record of this phone existing. This looks like some kind of droid from Star Wars. You could probably get $20 each for these on eBay if you could pry them loose. I dated a girl once who sold one of these. It wasn't Verizon. I think it just said phone. But yeah, she got about $20 for it on eBay. I sometimes wonder how much money is actually contained in these things. Cuts a cool profile with the Unisphere behind it. So there you have it. So by my count, this makes 3 outdoor payphones in Flushing and 2 in the subway, and only one of those 5 phones works.